Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Marte. I come from Norway and I love makeup. And today I wanted to do something quite simple, so I just decided to show you guys how I work with neon shadows because someone requested that in my Instagram comments. So I'm just going to use my Terra Cosmetics pigments or neon pigments. They are pressed, so I feel like these are like the best neons I've ever tried. Not that I've tried a lot, but these are really simple to use in my opinion, and they are going to be releasing a lot more neons, so I'm super excited about that. And I just thought I would show you how I do it, but I was also thinking I could just show you how I work with pigments. I have been organizing all of my Tammy Tanuka shades in this huge Give Me Glow palette. Some of them are missing because I have them in some custom palettes, and I am going to receive about 32 more pigments, I think, plus that I have some matte pigments from them. But I just thought I would show you like a little bit more properly how I work with my pigments. It's also not that hard in my opinion, maybe if you're new with this, but hopefully this video will make it a bit easier if you're completely new with pigments or neons. So I just did this simple look that I have on right here, and I also managed to spill a lot of mascara today, so I'm also going to show you how I fix mascara spills. If you're interested in seeing how I work with neon shadows or pigments or how I fix mascara spills, then please keep on watching. When I work with shadows in general in my crease, I prefer brushes like this because they are kind of halfway flat, but then they have this, I don't know if you call it tapered, but they do blend really nicely because you can see that the bristles are longer in the middle and shorter on the sides. So when you place your brush like this, it will kind of blend by itself. So I'm just going to start off using the blue, I think, and I will use the biggest of the brushes that I showed you. So this is the shade Cotton Candy Sky, and I'm just going to dip into it. I'm not moving the brush a lot because neons are super powdery. And then I'm just going to start packing that in my crease, just like I basically do with all kinds of shadows. It's just with neons you can't like blend as much, I feel like, but it really depends on the formula. So I keep on packing them on, and then I will just slightly blend the edges afterwards. And my base is of course the NARS Smudge Proof eyeshadow base because that's just one of the best bases I have. I don't really know what I'm going to do once I run out because they're not cruelty free, so I will not repurchase it. But hopefully the Kaleidos one will not be too dark for me. As you see, I'm just like buffing out the edges very slightly, and it works perfectly fine. You can of course also go in with a lighter blue or something like that, but I like the option of being able to only work with, like, to be able to blend out the one shade you use in your crease. That for me is like a sign that the shadow is really good. And as you can see, I'm not over blending, I'm just slightly buffing the edges. And once I feel basically like satisfied with the blue, I'm going to move into the green. So this is the shade Neverland, and it's really hard to catch on video because it's so freaking bright. It's more of like a lime green shade, but I'm just going to use the smaller brush now because I'm going to the inner corner and do the exact same thing. And as you can see, they're really powdery, so you have to be really careful when you dip your brush into it if you don't want like a ton of kick up and lose a lot of product that way. And this one is more true neon, I feel like, because you can like see that it looks a little bit more chalky. So it's just important to like pat it down to the sticky base, and of course you have to make sure you have it placed where you want it. So I obviously want it a little bit higher up because I'm going to cover up most of my lid with a pigment. And you see it almost blends out even though I'm still just patting it on. And when it comes to blending them together, I don't really blend them. Again, I'm just buffing them together like this, just because I don't like to mix shadows too much if they're not like really similar to each other, because that can like create some muddiness on the eye. And since I'm using a quite light pigment with these, I make sure that I cover my lid with this shade or these shades as well, just because I like to have sort of like a base for my pigments. And I think we should stop now before we overdo it, just in fear of like starting to take away the shadow from the eye. So I'm just going to repeat this on the other eye. I think I might, wait, I'll just show you, because I feel like I need the blue a little bit higher up. So I just added a little bit on my brush. And it's like I'm pressing down and sweeping. And I don't have a lot of product on my brush, just a little bit. There, so I will just repeat that on the other eye, and then I will show you how I place my pigment down. So now I applied it on both of my eyes, so it's time for glitter glue for the pigment, and I just always use my BH Cosmetics Base Booster, and I try to apply as little as possible, but still like enough for the pigment to actually stick to your eye. So I'll start with this, and then we'll see if that is enough. And what I do is, like, as you can see here, I will start where the lightest shade is, just because you're going to transfer a little bit of the shadow once you do this, but you do want to be very careful when you place the glitter glue not to move too much of what's underneath. But with these chalkier shades, you are going to lift up the pigment. So as you can see, I'm just dispersing it a little bit, and of course making sure I place it right above my crease so you can still see the pigment when I'm having my eyes open. Like dragging the glue, I think I need a little bit more. So I basically covered a little bit more than half of my lid, so I'm just going to take this much more, and I'm just going to place that down right here, continue where I started. And then I'm like dipping down, just following my own eye shape, so placement will be different for everyone, honestly. I'm just ending it right here, so I still have some space to work with the blue afterwards to make sure I have a nice concentration of the pigment down in my outer corner. And it's just important to, of course, make sure that you have the glitter glue all over the lid, that you are not like missing a spot. If you do, it's not like a crisis, because you can always go in with some more glitter glue. I just feel like it might look a bit thicker if you like overlap with the pigment that you already placed down. But maybe I missed a spot now, and then we'll see. So this is Tammy Tanuka Gone with the Dreams. It's kind of hard to see in this lighting. I can see if I can use my flash and show you. So as you can see, it has like a bluish base, but then it has a very green shift, but it also goes through a little bit of pinky purpley sparkles, I feel like. So I just felt like this one would be really nice for the look, or for the colors that I'm using today. So I'm just going to take a flat brush, and this is a more finer pigment, so obviously I pressed these myself, and I usually just push into it a little bit with the brush to pick up a little bit, and then it's just to pat it down. So I'm just patting it down gently here, and as you can see, I'm kind of pushing it a bit into the glue, and then I usually go over the whole lid just to make sure that it's actually sticking to the glue everywhere, that I not just brushed it slightly in, but that it's really sticking. That way you will avoid fallout during the day. And to me this looks really, really pretty, so I'll just tap slightly into the blue with that brush that I used with the blue earlier, and make sure that I have that right here, because often the glitter glue or just moving the brush over here will take away a little bit of that shadow. So this is basically the top part of my eye, so I'm just going to finish off my other eye, and then I will do my face makeup and come back to show you what I will do for my lower lash line. So on this eye I'm seeing a tiny bit of a darker line right by my crease. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm just tapping over a tiny bit of that green neon just to try to cover it. It seems to be working nicely. It's not like a big deal, it's just if I can avoid it, I will. But I think I'll just go over to my lower lash line. So now I'm just using my Kaleidos Makeup S5 brush, and I think I'll just use the blue actually, just because I'm going to work and this green is like so neon. So even though I work in a restaurant, it's like, still I don't want to look like I'm going to a rave party, you know. So I will just be tapping this one closer to my lower lash line. As you can see, I didn't set really properly underneath my eyes, just so the pigment can have something to stick to. But again, I'm just tapping it on there. I think, like, since I'm just doing blue, I think I might want to use one of the pastel shades from Terra, just because I haven't really been testing them out, because I have been busy. But I will actually go ahead and use, there are two shades that are really pretty. I think I'll use Aquarius. It's a very light blue. I don't even know if that's a part of the pastel collection, I don't remember, but at least it's a light blue. But I'm just going to slightly blend this and make sure I have that neon blue where I want it. So I will just be taking a bit of Aquarius here, and I will just try to like use it to blend out my lower lash line, just because this is a way softer blue, I think. Nothing more than that really. So I'm just going to find a pigment that I want to place in my inner corners. So I'm just placing down some glitter glue in my inner corner now. And I decided to use the pigment called Chromatic Elixir from Tammy Tanuka, and I do want a very sparkly inner corner. So I am blowing out a little bit right here, making sure I have the glitter glue everywhere I want the pigment placed. So the pigment I'm going to use is like a blue to purple, I think. You can mostly see the blue, at least in this lighting, but I'm just going to start placing it onto the glitter glue. Okay, so I will just place some white, I think, in my waterline. I will put on mascara and highlighter and something for the lips, and then I'll be back to show you a close-up. So you know that moment when you're almost done with your makeup and this happens? I literally stabbed myself in the eye with my mascara wand. But yeah, since this is a simple video, I thought, okay, then I can show you also how I would fix this. So since this is a lot of mascara, I'm just gonna use my micellar cleanser and a Q-tip, and I'm just going to, because now it's still quite wet, so I'm just going to take the dry side first and then see how it removes. Looks like it removes quite nicely. Now I'm just using the tip of the wet Q-tip right here, just making sure I get away all the mascara. Okay, so I thought that was mascara, but that's just one of my freckles. Can't remove that with micellar water. So now I just have to make sure that the micellar water actually dries down. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my concealer, like the tiniest bit, and in order to be able to place it where I kind of need to have it, I will take a very small brush. I think this is one of the smallest ones I have, but still it's kind of fluffy. So I'm just taking like the tiniest bit of concealer here, because a little goes a long way. And what I am going to do is I'm just going to blend that out everywhere where I just removed stuff. And luckily this is like basically everywhere where I would have my shadow, as you can see. So that's kind of easier to fix than if it's where you have your skin makeup, because then it can look a little bit patchy and weird. But what I will do is I'm going to take my tiny brush again and basically just repeat my lower lash line. So even though I already have a lot of that deep blue, I'm just going to pack that on there again like that. And I'm just going to remove a little bit of that and then take the lighter blue. And I feel like now it went a little bit further down. So I'm just going to do that on the other eye as well. And that's basically it. So now I can finish off my mascara again and then I will do the close-up. So that was the close-up of my look, and I really love bright looks like this, and these neons are just super easy to work with, the same with the Tammy Tanuka pigments. It's really not that hard once you have learned how to work with them, and I'm really happy with how this look turned out. It's just a super simple look with like green and blue, and you don't need a lot of shadows to do that. And I'm just super excited because Terra Moons are coming out with some more neon shadows and I'm gonna want to pick up all of them. I don't know if I will yet, but we will just have to wait and see. I would be super excited to have them all because I do think that this formula is super easy to work with compared to a lot of other neon pigments and shadows. Not that I've used that many, but they blend out really nicely and they're just very user-friendly. I think they're like the best neons on the market as far as I know. But I do hope that this video was helpful for you, and if you did like it, I would really appreciate if you give it a thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed, I would also appreciate if you subscribe to my channel. And I do a lot of tutorials, I do a lot of playing with single shadows and making my own custom palettes. I have a few series here on my channel. And yeah, I do a lot of pigment work. I love my Tammy Tanuka pigments. I use them almost with every look that I do. So if you also love sparkly pigments, then you're welcome to stay here. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Bye!